Rhythm, pulse, time signature, groove. What do all of these things mean? How do you know what your piece is in time-wise, and what do you do with that information? A lot of people have been asking me similar questions recently, so I want to dive into it today. And make sure you stick around for the second half of the video where we'll have a guess the time signature game. But first, we're going to kick it old school with a whiteboard and marker. And first, let's explore the concept of 4/4. We're not going to worry too much about this second number for now, but what it means to be in a count of 4 is that when your phrase lasts for, or once your phrase has happened for 4 counts, we come back around to the beginning again. That's all that is. So the phrases in music, almost like phrases in sentences, they're going to be to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. Dum 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 dun 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 dun. I'm just making up melodies here, right? But you can see that by the time I get to 4, you can kind of hear that almost like poetry, almost like speech. By the time I get back around here, I'm coming back either to return to the same idea or to explore another idea that's connected but different, right? So the phrases kind of naturally close once we get to this point. So what if you're following a tutorial and the person is counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? That's the same thing. It's not different. You haven't changed anything. All that you've done there, you've started acknowledging the space in between those beats. That's all it is. It's still exactly the same length of time. You're still counting to 4, you can still play the same melodies within that phrase. You're just acknowledging that sometimes when I was singing then, I was singing da 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 da. When I sped up, I was playing those in-betweens, right? Da 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 dun 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 dun. That's all that is. You're acknowledging the space in between. What if your teacher is saying 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Same concept. You're just acknowledging these spaces. That's literally all that it is. And depending on the complexity of the rhythm or the pattern that you're learning, you might only count the numbers, or you might only count the numbers and the ands in between. Or if there's other stuff happening in those in-betweeny spaces, you might also count the E's and the U's. In theory, you can divide this as many times as you want if we could play or speak quickly enough. What we're talking about here is beat divisions, right? So every beat, we have a beat here, and a beat here, right? And a beat here, and a beat here. And we can divide those into different ways. If we wanted to, instead of dividing them into 4 equal parts, we could do something like this. I really like colours, that's why I'm using lots of different colours. What's happening here then? What do we think? Instead of dividing it into 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, within a beat, we're dividing it into 3 parts, 1, 2, 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. When we're dividing these numbers into these beats into 3 parts, we usually start to think of these as something 8 patterns. And in this case, this is a 12/8 pattern. And the reason being is that there are 12 eighth notes within this, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 beats happening in this bar, and we're phrasing it in those triplets. Typically, this is how we phrase a 12/8 pattern. I like to count it within a count of 4 because that's kind of what makes sense to me, and that's the way that I play a lot of 12/8s. But this isn't always helpful. Sometimes you might count them as like a group of 5, another group of 5, and then a group of 2, or a group of 4, another group of 4, and another group of 4, right? So then you've just got 3 strong beats. If I take away the 3 and the 4 on this rhythm, we're not in 12/8 anymore. We're in 6/8. Oops, dropped my tissue. We're in 6/8 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. And typically in 6/8 you have 2 strong beats happening. That's how you can tell that you're in 6/8, because it's kind of a beat of 2, but you're dividing those beats into 3 parts. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. This is different to 3/4. This has a very different feel, because 3/4, as with all of these 4 patterns, typically you will divide into 4 equal parts, right? So either 1 and 2 and 3 and, or you can acknowledge that space in between, 1E and a 2E and a 3. It's still the same rhythm, you're just acknowledging those spaces in between, but it's different to this. Let me highlight those phrasings so you can see, oops, so you can see how that's different, right? So 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1E, 2E and a 3E and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Yeah, they are very different feels. Just because the fraction, when you look at it as though it's a maths equation, just because the fraction is technically the same, it looks like it's half, that's not what it means at all. It's actually referring to the phrasing and the way that the piece of music feels. Now, when we get into these kinds of phrasings and time signatures and stuff, there's often a lot of debate, even amongst professional musicians, even amongst composers and people who are writing music, as to what time signature this piece of music is going to be in. And ultimately, it's up to the composer, I suppose, to decide, but it's also about how you want to feel that piece of music, or how you and your jamming buddies want to communicate about that piece of music, so that you can get to the same point together, so that you can make sure you're speaking the same language and playing in the same field. That's all that really matters. And there's a lot of nuance in here, and there's a lot more depth that I could go into, but this is a quick rundown on how time signatures work, how dividing beats works, and what that kind of looks like on paper, if you like. If you have any more questions about that, please let me know in the comments, and I can go further into it and make some more videos about it. But this is the basics of what finding a beat looks like. So talking about pulse then, I didn't really talk about this. The pulse is the numbers, right? It's the main downbeats of the rhythm. It's the place where you feel the accent. So in this instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the pulse. It's your heartbeat of your piece, right? And in this case, 1, 2, 1, 2, that's your pulse. And in the bottom case, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 1 and 2, right? It's the numbers that are the pulse. That's what I'm referring to when I talk about pulse. So regardless of how your rhythm changes within it, wherever your accents are, say for instance, I write out a groove based on this 4/4 pattern, and my groove is ding, tack, ding, ding, tack, right? Ding, tack, ding, ding, tack, ding, tack, ding, ding, tap, cat, tack, cat, and then I put like a little fill at the end, ding, tack, ding, ding, taka, taka, ding, tack, ding, ding, taka, taka, ding, tack, ding, ding, taka, taka, ding, tack, ding, ding, taka, taka. No matter how your rhythm changes, for instance, or like this, no matter how your rhythm changes throughout, the pulse always remains the same, right? The dum, 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 that feeling underneath it, even if you're not physically hearing somebody play that pulse, it still exists within that piece of music. It's the thing that makes you dance when you're listening to music, or makes you nod your head or tap your foot when you're listening to music. That's the pulse. Even if you don't know how to find a pulse, Actually, you probably do, because you've probably moved in some way to music before. You just don't have the language for it yet. So with that in mind, let me play a couple of examples of music for you and see if you can determine what the pulse of that is. Think? Have you got it? 6, 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can feel that the main downbeats, we're in a feeling of 2 here, right? The phrasing is in 2 parts. But then triplet, so it had that lilting feeling. That's that 6, 8. Here's another one. Answers in the comments. I would argue that that's in 3, 4, because we had the accents 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like a waltz, 2, 3, 1. And then when I started filling in that space in between, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, I was dividing it into equal 2 parts. I was dividing it in half. I was putting those ands in the middle, right? Not 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a... That would be 9, 8. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... Because you're dividing those beats into 3 parts, so you're adding up to 9. But if I divide those beats into 2 equal parts, we're in 3, 4, right? That waltz feeling. All right, one more for you. How did you nod your head to that when you were listening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We're of course in a group of 4 in that case. We are playing in 4, 4. Here's a bonus one for you. I'll slow it down. What time signature was that one in? Where was the pulse there? You could feel the accents. Dum da da, dum da da, dum da da. right? But it was slightly odd, it was slightly strange. It wasn't quite fitting in those equal parts in the same way that we've explored already. That was in 7. Taki, 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 ta. Dum, dak, da, dum, da, da. It's hard to do on my fingers. I'm not going to explain that here, but I have a video all about odd time signatures and how to figure those out and how to figure out the phrasing and how to play in time with those. So I recommend checking out that video next if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.